listening and you're watching this, thank you for joining us. Let's talk about insomnia. During the past several months, and it's just been quite challenging for a lot of us working from home, changing the status of your physical work or your financial status, the emotional well status, the whole dynamic of family is taking a big toll and is definitely affecting your overall health and wellness. Today, I just want to talk to you about what are the things you need to watch for if you are suffering from insomnia. If that is something that is bothering you, stay with me and just learn for the next 30 minutes. So hopefully this will add some wellness, health, and benefit to your life from this point on. My name is Dr. Romina Gasemi. I am the founder of Think Healthy. I also have a clinic in downtown Los Angeles. And if you need to talk to me, you're more than welcome to reach me through telemedicine or come join us in our clinic. I'll be more than happy to take care of you. The foundation of my work is specifically about health, wellness, the natural way, and how we can get you back on healthy track as soon as possible. So tune in and let's go. So as you can see, you're not the only one suffering from sleep deprivation. This is a world map of people who are suffering across the globe. And if you notice the people that are, how many hours do people actually sleep by country, you notice that US and North America tends to have a much higher normal sleep pattern, which is about 6 to 8 hours is the ideal scene. So 7 hours is the perfect time. And that's a really good area. And Australia, that's fantastic. You're sleeping a little bit more, so you have a little bit less stress. So let's talk about insomnia and the definition. It's actually a sleep disorder. It's an inability to go into a relaxed stage. There's two concepts of that. One concept is your sleep insomnia, is it an acute problem? Is it something that is short-term, just happened because either you have deadlines or you have people joining you, or if you have people, sorry, there we go. We got a little distracted, right? So if it's because of an acute problem or if it's been going on for a chronic long period of time. So what considers a chronic sleep disorder is actually something that's lasting you more than 3 to 3 months, 3 weeks to 3 months. That would be considered a chronic sleep disorder. Now, there are different causes of insomnia or sleep disorders. One of them could be an emotional state. You're under deadlines, stress, thoughts, things that occur in your life. The other thing could be chemical. That's a chemical insufficiency in your body. And those are either aggravated by things like drugs, alcohol, or nicotine, or even medication can definitely cause insomnia in some people, or interruption in their sleep by not following a normal pattern. Or there could be a physical problem. You actually have health conditions that are causing you to stay up. One of them is definitely a hormonal dysfunction. Pain is another factor. And somehow stress and pain are very much interrelated, even though one is physical and the other one is emotional. But the overall health and wellness of the body is when your emotional, chemical, and physical balance are maintained. So let's talk about that a little bit more. You see, the adverse effects of insomnia and poor sleep is not, it bleeds into your morning and your next day. It affects your daytime mood. It also causes like overstress situation for your body because now your body is overworked to address under stressful situation because it would never got the sleep, the rest that it needed. Whereas you want to sleep badly, but you can't, or your mind can't shut up during at night. So you fall in this whole cycle of problem. The things that leaves you affect, the adverse effects of insomnia is it leaves you tired, mentally fogged, drowsy, and you just have lack of energy throughout the day. It's definitely affected if you have an overload day or a day that demands your attention, and it is definitely aggravated by your physical stress. It also affects your mental alertness. most importantly, especially if you're working with a job that requires numbers and requires your detailed attention. Other factors that's very important is writing reports that are dependent upon you, especially like for doctors who handle work-related injury reports. This is extremely important because what they write during the report can really affect somebody else's, the outcome of their health and wellness and their outcome of their life. So if you're holding jobs that are making difference in other people's lives and your reports and your work depends on that, insomnia is not something that you can afford to have. It really affects change in your mood. Again, that's dealing with people directly and indirectly, very much affected by that. Changes your perspective, usually leaving people thinking more negative and being more depressed and critical instead of more solution oriented. Unfortunately, the person tends to make more errors because of the tired drowsiness that we spoke of before. And you really find that your reflexes are a little bit slower. So you have less reaction time or slower reaction time, that's a better way of saying it, which actually increases your chances of accidents and injuries, physical accidents and injuries, not just academic or cognitive. These are other physiological side effects of poor sleep or insomnia. You get itchiness, hives, you get dizzy, you start having fever. Headaches are a very common side effect of insomnia. Feeling a little queasy, you have digestive issues, that could be anything from nausea, flatulence, constipation. If you already are suffering from inflammatory disorders, it will be aggravated. And we'll go into the detailed physiology of it later, but I just want you to know that these are the other factors that people don't talk about, the physiological effect of insomnia. We usually talk about how it makes you drowsy and it makes you tired and the things we discussed, reduces your cognitive abilities, affects your mood, but these also do occur. So what happens is in this time of 2020, 2021, where the numbers are rising of how important our immune system is to our overall health and wellness, you cannot afford to have insomnia. Why? Because insufficient sleep actually affects your innate immune response. That's your body's natural intelligence and natural defense mechanism. And it creates an effect that actually you're more susceptible to injuries. You're more susceptible to infections and antigens. So how does this affect your immune system? You see, when you have acute sleep deprivation, right, it affects your thromboxane hormones, it affects your lymphocytes, it affects your antibody responses, right? And people with chronic sleep deprivation, it affects their inflammation process, it affects the interleukins, it affects the leukocytes trafficking, but this is like a whole cycle that the body goes through. But what really matters is your immune system affects your brain functioning and it changes the link between sleep and immune system. This especially affects with an inflammatory cytokines. And a whole other systems of hormones are affected. But one factor that's very crucial and integral part of your immune system is your cortisol levels. Your cortisol levels are basically your stress-related hormones. So let me dive in a little bit deeper into that cycle. You see, your cortisol is secreted by a gland called adrenals. The first sign of chronic fatigue, which is also very common in people with insomnia, whether acute or chronic, and change of appetite. Sometimes you actually get more cravings because you're tired, you're depressed, and you have more cravings, or you lose your appetite. Different body types respond differently. But what is common is fatigue and muscle insult, muscle weakness. You also feel like your cortisol, some days you go through a high and low. And these cortisol levels could be the leading cause of your insomnia. So ACTH, which I'll explain to you in a little bit, is a hormone that travels through your bloodstream and it comes and it affects your adrenal glands. The adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys. These adrenal glands produce what is called cortisol. And then once they have reduced cortisol, they go back and tell hypothalamus, which sits in your brain, to stop releasing cortisol reactive hormone. It's a complex and sensitive feedback loop, but it works in a loop, and it does have a profound effect on your body, mind, and your sleep. So let's talk about that ACTH hormone that I talked about. It talks about adrenal exhaustion. It stands for adrenocorticotropic hormone. It's in the bloodstream and it's made by the pituitary gland. So you know where the pituitary glands sit? They sit at the base of your brain. Let me pause here for a second. If you've been involved in a car accident, if you've suffered from whiplash injuries, having insomnia is not an abnormal thing. Even it is abnormal, but it's not uncommon. Also, if you have forward head syndrome with chronic headaches, or you have poor posture, don't be surprised that you have an insult to your entire health and wellness balance. You see, adrenocorticotropic hormone controls the production of another hormone called cortisol. And look where cortisol sits. It sits right on top of the kidneys, and it's produced by a gland called adrenal. So these adrenal glands that sit on top of kidneys. Now I want you to take your hands and touch your last rib in front of your spine, in front of your body and chest. Run your fingers, and where your fingers meet in the back, that's exactly where your kidneys sit. It's at the level of L1, T12 and L1. One is higher than the other, as you notice in this picture. And adrenals sit on top of the kidneys. So when you're slouching at your desk, or when you're a sloucher, not only you're affecting the position of the nerves that feed to your adrenals, but you're also affecting the base of your skull, which is your pituitary gland, this area that feeds into this cycle. So the feedback loop system is not just the hormonal chemical interaction of the neurochemicals. You also may be aggravating it by an actual neurological nerve cells. We'll go into that later in more detail. So there's two other glands that are on top of kidneys, adrenals, one on each side. And they also affect your pancreas, which is another gland, which eventually affects your also your reproductive organs. But looking at your hormones, which are affected and aggravated by stress, lack of sleep, stress, the cortisols, look at the list of items that they immediately affect. Digestion, metabolism, sensory proprioception, that's like how you feel, where you stand. That in lactation and reproduction, especially found, insomnia is very common in expecting mothers, mainly because of the hormonal imbalances, sleep, growth development, and stress and mood manipulation. So your hormones play a huge role in your overall function. So how does this whole system work? And what does it have to do with insomnia? Do you find yourself in any of in this sitting position, especially when you're involved with your work? We know that poor posture affects your brain, your heart, your digestive tract, your musculoskeletal system, can cause sciatic problem, definitely affects your spine and your discs and your whole entire spinal cord function. Now, looking at the postures, if you were to pick your posture, which one of them would you pick? Just pick any of the green images. You see, the normal posture is when the big circle aligns with the middle of your shoulder. We call that earlobe aligns with the middle of your shoulder. For every 1 inch that your head is over the center of your shoulders, there's an extra 10 pounds of pressure on your upper back and 30 times more in your lower back. That's why accountants, attorneys, dental hygienists, dentists tend to suffer a lot from upper back pain and mostly have blown lower back discs because they suffer from musculoskeletal overload on the upper part of their spine, whereas they're overloading the discs, and that's why they blow up a disc. So we'll get into that later, or you can watch my other webinars in the past. But what I want you to notice, depending on the type of posture you picked and where your aches and pains are, listen to your body. If you're suffering from aches and pains up here, it's definitely affecting your heart and your lung, which is the two areas that are instantly affected by poor sleep. If you have forward head syndrome, so you tend to have more of a forward head position despite your age, you definitely are affecting your eyes, ears, nose, and throat, sinuses, and this area very instantly affects your parotid glands, affects your thyroids, and unfortunately can cause a lot of headaches and upper back problems. If you're suffering from where most people slouch from when they're sitting in the middle of their chair, from the space between their middle back and their lower back, this transition area is the exact area that feeds off to this organ called adrenal gland. And obviously it will affect the segments above and below, which means your upper GI and your lower GI. Your whole entire systems are affected by poor sleep. And your poor sleep can be very much related to what you do throughout the day. So now that we're looking at sleep, let's look at the different stages of your sleep. There are three stages of, there's a non-REM and there's a REM. REM stands for rapid eye movement. That rapid eye movement, the first 90 minutes of your sleep is exactly stage 1 and 2. And this is a stage that lasts about a few minutes as you drift into a sleep and you just begin your sleep. Your body systems relax and your core temperature drops and your brain waves are slower. And almost 50% of your sleep cycle is in this phase, which is phase 2, like this area. Now, if we're lucky, we actually fall into REM. Oh, here we go. And that's slow wave sleep. So when you're having a sleep study, the waves that come about will determine exactly what stage you're in. And then the rapid eye movement is when the sleep is in part of your sleep cycle. When you have vivid dreams, colorful, vivid dreams, and you actually start snoring, but it's more of a purring rather than sleep apnea snoring. If you are sleeping next to someone that has difficulty or gasps for air in between their snoring, you definitely want to make sure to address that with a sleep study test. And so gasping for air while sleeping is a first sign that a sleep study is mandated for you. A sleep cycle lasts about 90 minutes, and during that time, you move through these 4 stages of sleep. So REM is where you want to be. So one of the questions is, okay, what kind of a pillow do I use? What do I need? Maybe it's my pillow that I can't sleep. There are 2 types of pillows. There are pillows that make you feel good. So they are the quality of the pillow, whether it's feather, down, memory foam, latex, or hybrid of them. And then there are pillows that are actually good for you. They have more of a functional effect. They promote better curve in your spine. They relax the upper back and shoulder muscles. So you can actually reduce your stages of going to sleep and meet REM sleep much faster. And then there's like, what kind of mattress do I choose? Do I choose inner spring mattress? Maybe it's my mattress that's causing me problem. Again, there is a layer that is your comfort layer, and there is a layer that's your supportive layer. Before you invest in your mattress and what type, identify which one you actually like, what fits more comfortable, what has more of an emotional comfort zone to you. Then couple that with what you functionally really need. So what you functionally really need is it an inner spring that has more of a recoilability and forms to your body? Or do you need a foam mattress? Do you need more of an air mattress that you can control the intensity of it? Do you want to have more of a water feel or more of a latex effect? So those are the functionality that can be discussed either with me over telemedicine, or you can discuss it with your doctor. But your body style, your x-rays, and your body type would determine exactly what type of a support layer you would need. Are you overweight? Are you underweight? Do you have scoliosis? Do you have kyphosis? Those factors will be important in selecting the right support layer for the comfort layer that you just chose, which I'm sure you can mix and match it together. Before choosing your mattress, know your aches and pains. If you have poor posture, or if you're overweight, memory foam is not something that you want to invest in because it molds to your body type. And if your body is already in a poor mechanical state, you actually aggravate or take away the chance of having a good night's sleep. Doesn't matter if you're a back sleeper, if you are a stomach sleeper or a side sleeper. And pardon my spelling issue. I was typing so fast, I forgot to put the L in the sloucher. So before we even talk about side sleeper, back sleeper, stomach sleepers, let's talk about just being able to sleep, period. If you have more of, if you're a woman in your menopause stage and you go through hot flashes, make sure you do not invest in a memory foam as it increases body heat. So you definitely want to have something that has more of a gel type inside, that's more of a spring type of mattress. If you do suffer from lumbar spine disc problems, memory foam is not good for you. I highly recommend memory foam for people who have more of an athletic, balanced body type rather than heavier weights. Another factor that totally affects your chemical balance is how do you balance your hormones in order with proper diet and supplementation, and how do we use natural methods in order to be able to have a better night's sleep. So let's talk about 7 factors. First one, you want to reset your system. So if you have hormonal problems, especially women, I highly recommend reduce the amount of eating red meat or white meat for that matter to maybe 1 to 2 times a week. So reduce on your meat factor because a lot of meats and processed meats do have estrogen inside. If you have insulin, or if you're borderline diabetic, or you tend to have sugar cravings like in the afternoon between 3 and 5 p.m., make sure you reduce your sugar intake. And that definitely certainly affects your insulin levels so it doesn't keep you up. What you want to do to reduce your leptin level, you want to have more of a fruitless diet. Definitely caffeine plays a huge role, and I will guarantee you if you're having coffee between 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., you will have problems sleeping. So try to balance your cortisol levels by not having coffee anytime after 1 o'clock. Make sure that your diet is more grain-free because it will affect your thyroid levels. And also dairy-free if you have bloatiness, gas, indigestion. Digestive issues are very much affected by dairy diets. Toxin-free, stay away from as much testosterone induced into your food. So my rule of thumb is if it's in a box, don't buy it. Try to find an alternative source of natural form of it. Detoxification is very important to avoid certain groups of food. That's very important. And then replace them with things that are good for you, that have more of a healthier benefits for yourself. Things that will always be a rule of thumb, even if you don't change your diet, is meditation, breathing, and vibrational music therapy. And let me summarize that into one word. If you just sit still and take deep breaths while you're sitting against the wall with support around your back, and just breathe for 5 minutes, take deep breaths in and out, you will balance your whole entire body. If you can't do this while sitting, when you're in bed and starting your sleep, practice breathing instead of counting sheep. Just breathe in and breathe out. That's how you can control your whole entire balance body to relax and be able to fall asleep much easier, much faster. Should you have pain or discomfort throughout the day, it's very important to eliminate that. These kits are specifically designed to give you all that you need in one place. It's kind of like a dental kit or a sewing kit. It's one full, everything you need in a short, concise method to offer you three things. Prevent further damage, that means correcting the problem. Strengthen the weak muscles, and also relax the tight muscles. This kit provides you with everything you need in order to address physical stresses of the day that are causing your insomnia at night. And you could get these from thinkhealthy.com. The logo is right on the side. You just put thinkhealthy.com, and that's the beginning of a series of home health kits that we have brought to you. Natural remedies. I put a link for you so that way you can actually get recipes in how to use and how to create your natural remedies. You definitely want to have warm milk because it has tryptophan. You also find tryptophan in turkey. Honey is a natural sugar which actually balances your insulin level, which allows tryptophan to promote your sleep. This also increases the release of serotonin. So adding milk and honey which is the old-fashioned way of doing things, are actually very beneficial as far as physiologically is concerned. Apple cider vinegar in a nice warm glass of water would provide you the amino acids that reveal fatigue. And including that, have a glass of apple cider vinegar before you go to sleep with warm water because you want to balance your yin and yang and you balance your energy field. And followed with deep breathing at night in bed, I guarantee you that you'll find a much better, faster REM sleep. Music therapy helps immensely as well. If you have access to a timer on your phone, or you could just play one musical therapy or vibrational musical therapy on YouTube for about 10-20 minutes before you go to sleep is very effective in balancing your brain waves that are responsible for your non-REM and REM sleep. Of course, chamomile has apigenin that helps you to fight insomnia, and nutmeg has sedative properties in treating. Cumin seeds are very effective in having a tranquilizing effect. Now, if you tend to use essential oils, coconut oils immensely helps on many levels. And also castor oil helps as well. Just make sure you don't get it around your eyes. You put a couple of drops in your palm, rub your palm, rub around your eyes, and make sure it doesn't go into your eyes. So those that have more of an essential oil effect. If you want to exactly know how to have these remedies and the ingredients and the instructions, so the recipes are in the link that's provided. Again, foods can be your medicine. So focusing on that is what's important, because just so you know, a lot of medications that are out there for pain actually cause insomnia or interrupt normal sleep cycle, causing you to fall asleep throughout the day and staying up at night. So they definitely interrupt your circadian rhythm or your sleep cycle. Cardiovascular and strength training are immensely sleep because they actually increase your tryptophan release, and they also improve dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin levels. So you definitely want to add exercise, even if it's 20 minutes of walking just around the block. Throughout the day, how you work is extremely important in your physical well-being. When your body is in a physical or proper ergonomic state, you actually notice that you have less stress on your muscles and you're able to have better cognitive skills, tackles problems much with a higher, more creative, solution-oriented solutions. Things that you can control are aches and pains. And if you please, if you have any questions, contact us. We're here to help you. And please follow me on Instagram, as I will actually post a lot of health tips for you. And then final suggestions from a friend of mine, which I wanted to download over here for you, is make sure you have regular sleep patterns. If you have to put a timer on your phone to remind you to go to bed, go to bed. Turn off TV, stop watching Netflix. The show will still be there tomorrow. And Make sure that you're active throughout the day. Do not have caffeine, tea, or coffee after 2 p.m. Limit your nap time to about 30 minutes, maybe between the hours of 1 to 4 p.m. if you want to stay up a little longer. Make sure you sleep at least 7 hours is the most functional brain alertness that you could have. And limit your artificial light exposure. If you have to wear a mask, that's very important. And eating some carbs after dark, some, not too much if you're watching your weight, would definitely help. And turn off any screens 1 hour before bedtime. Please, it helps your eyes, it helps your mind, it helps your body. Turn off, don't close your laptop or close your iPad or turn off your phone just before you go to bed or let it or fall asleep as it's in your hand. Please do not do that. You cause higher aging, faster aging process, and more drowsiness the next day. So you really do yourself a disservice. Make sure the room is dark, it's quiet, and it's cool. And remember, your bedroom is not your dining room and it's not your workroom. It is for sleep and extracurricular activities. My name is Dr. Romina. Every Wednesday, I come to you with health tips on different topics. Next week, we're going to talk about motor vehicle accidents, car accidents, and if you have any questions, just shoot them over to me. Thank you for your time. Please share this with anyone that you know that could benefit from this video. Have a wonderful day and see you soon.